to Book 101 review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's the author of the book or the upcoming book, Recoil of Justice. No other than Mr. Brad Alder.
How are you, Daniel?
Fabulous, fabulous like you, Mr. Brad. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, my name is Brad Elder. I live in Lubbock, Texas. I have been a lawyer for about 20 years now, and I'm also the owner of a title insurance agency down in Houston, Texas. Um, and back during COVID, or just right around COVID, I kind of discovered my creative side. I would say we had a trial coming up, and it had canceled 2 days before trial. It was going to be 3 weeks long, and I didn't have anything to do for 3 weeks. So I went to the paint store and bought some canvas and some paints, and just tried my hand at painting, and it kind of awoken a little creative bug that I had. And then fast forward a few years, and was reading the novel in one of Jack Carr's novels, who I really enjoy reading, and I just thought, I think maybe I can do this. So once I finished the book, I got out my computer and started writing. So that's what brings us to today. It's been a fun project to work on. A lot of trials and tribulations, and learning, how to construct a novel, and also learning the self-publishing world. That's You get inundated with information and you have to weed through a lot. But I've been able to navigate it to this point, and excited about the book coming out in the next few weeks.
Mr. Brad Elder, thank you so much for sharing your creativity to the world. So, what inspired the storyline behind Recall of Justice?
Like I mentioned earlier, I do really enjoy reading thriller novels. Brad Thors of the world, David Baldacci, again, Jack Carr, Harlan Coben, all the guys that I really enjoy reading. And I always kind of pictured myself as the special agent or the black ops operator or something of that nature. And so it's kind of a silly little thing I do when I read, but I always thought, what would I do in this situation? I'm not a trained FBI agent or a CIA agent, or don't have a military background where I'm a special ops agent. So it always made me wonder how a normal person would handle these situations if thrust there um, through circumstances out of their control, obviously. I don't mean just your normal home invasion. I think we could all protect our own family, but um, what would a regular human being do if they were thrust into a situation where they had to act as some of my favorite protagonists have acted? So I came up with my protagonist, Ryan Wolf. He is a lawyer in Houston, Texas, and a case is at the center of the novel, mainly in part one, but the book really grows past just the initial case, and circumstances that do derive in the case or from the case take him into he's having to push the envelope and push himself and grow as a person to step up and protect those who can't protect themselves.
So, Mr. Brad, what are your struggles in writing Recall of Justice?
Well, the initial one is just the belief that I could do it. That was very difficult for me to overcome. As I started writing, I got the first few chapters down, and not I don't have a creative writing degree. The last creative writing class I took was English 1301 in my freshman year of college in 1988. So it's been a while. Um, just the belief that I had the ability to put together a story for someone else's enjoyment, because this is the first thing I've ever written for anyone to enjoy. Um, and that was the main part. And then afterward, when you hand it out to certain friends to read and whatnot, then you really start to feel this anxiety, and you start to feel very, very vulnerable. It was mainly with people close to me who know me, and you hand them something you create, and you're thinking in your mind that I think this is pretty good, but what do you think? And then you start to get again, the word vulnerability is the one that really pops into my mind. But that was my biggest struggle in the beginning, knowing how to construct the novel was an easier learning curve, a shorter learning curve, I believe. Now I did have some the help of a really good developmental editor that I hired, a freelance developmental editor, who really improved the novel a lot, I think, and taught me a lot about how to put a novel together. But it's honestly just the belief that that I was able to do it.
So, Mr. Brad, why did you choose this particular title, Recall of Justice?
Well, I struggled with this one. The name changed a number of times, um, and obviously this is a has a bit of a legal drama to it, although I wouldn't categorize it as a legal thriller. Um, and so the word justice was a big factor for me because the initial defendants in the lawsuit, um, Ryan felt very strong that they needed to be brought to justice. Well, to every action there's a equal and adverse reaction. So there's a recoil to that justice in the I don't want to give too much of a spoiler alert, but there was a
Yes.
recoil to the end of the case and how it came about, and he has to deal with that throughout the rest of the case. And also, the term recoil obviously is from a firearm being shot, and is that's a little bit of a not a spoiler, but a little bit of a nod to what he's going to have to do and how far he's going to have to go to protect those that were affected by the sinister plot that he uncovers after the trial.
So, Mr. Brad, were there real life events or experiences that influence your writing?
Yeah, there were. I don't know how many authors will admit to this, but Ryan's life is quite loosely based on my life. I've never had a case of this magnitude, nor have I had to pick up arms and uh, and protect others because of them. But there are a number of um, scenarios in the book. One notably, the relationship with his father and how that has driven his life and affected his life both positively and somewhat negatively. Um, so I wrote those into his character. You know, they always say write what you know, and I needed those personal connections to really connect with the character and write him the more believable. Again, he's not me. I told a friend that Ryan Wolf is not me. He's who I wish I was, younger, smarter, and better looking. So, um, but there are certain similarities, certain characters. I actually used the names of some of my friends as characters in the book. I know that some of the authors that I really like, they will use some of the benefactors of charitable gifts to their favorite charities and use some of the larger benefactors to and use their name in the book, which I think is a fantastic idea. I didn't have that kind of pull, so to show my gratitude to my friends uh, for their friendship and their loyalty, I used some of their names as characters and had some fun with that. Made some of my more friends who really care what they look like, let's say, and I didn't make them quite so easy on the eyes and, as the character. So it's fun to toy with my friends like that. But those are some of the life experiences that I used, and there's a few scenarios there that really shaped Ryan's life that actually did happen to me in my life. And so it was it just kind of became organically kind of came to me. I didn't have a plan to do that. Kind of organically happened, but it was allowed me to connect with the character a lot better.
So, Mr. Brad, how did you develop the character arcs throughout the novel?
Really putting him in very difficult situations and showing and trying to humanize him. I didn't hide the fact that he felt like he was out of his element. He was in over his head. I didn't hide those facts because he was, and that to me it was realistic. And then how he grew from there, and how he changed and was able to learn. And it's it's interesting that you asked the question earlier about the things from my life that affected it. One of the scenarios that I had touched on earlier that had actually happened in my life really shaped his confidence and shaped who he was, who Ryan Wolf is as a character. And sir, I didn't want to just tell the reader about these arcs. I wanted to show them. So, and whether it be through dialogue or whether it be anecdotally, um, I tried to use real, put him in very difficult situations to watch him grow from there.
So, how does Recall Justice explore the concept of justice differently from other thrillers?
That's a very good question. Like I said earlier, this is I kind of call it a legal light drama. So not a whole lot of legal thrillers that I see go past the case and watch him grow and put him in these situations and kind of take on an action thriller um, bent to it. Um, and usually in legal thrillers, the justice is when the judge throws the gavel down or the jury makes their decision, or the criminal or accused criminal gets either found innocent or found guilty, and that's kind of how that's justice is handled. This there is justice handled in the court of law or just prior. Um, Again, not much of a spoiler alert, but that is handled in the legal world. And then Ryan has to take matters into his own hands, and then vigilante justice becomes the forefront of the novel.
So, Mr. Brad, what would be your advice for those people out there who want to write their own novel?
Sit down and start. That's the hardest part for most, I think. And that's
True.
not just writing a novel. That could be an exercise program, that could be saving money, that could be getting in better shape, that could be whatever it may be. You have to start the process because there's always going to be an excuse. There's life's going to get in your way, and it's going to take up your time. Uh, I would I would say just sit down and start. Who cares where it goes initially? But get down and start the novel, I think you'll find yourself and really they'll find themselves truly enjoying it as it grows. We're all going to run into a writer's block every now and then. I was not the kind that could sit down and think through it and think through it and think through it. I had to get up and go do something else, whether it be exercise or even mow the lawn or take a shower or just break the routine and think about something completely different. Um, that will definitely be a stumbling block. Take advice from experts or from people in the field, but just know this is your creation and no one knows it better than you do. So if you feel strongly about something, stick to your guns on it, and because it's your creation at the end of the day. I'm not saying don't listen to those folks who have experience, because you should listen to them, and some are better than others, but truly sit down and write. Just start the process. Believe in them. Believe in what you're doing, and know that it's your creation. Take ownership of it. And another thing is, we can. I think not a lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people can write a book. It's a huge accomplishment to actually start and finish one. But once you're finished with a book, that's the easy part. Now you got to get it published. If you want to sell a copy, now you got to get it published. So,
Yes.
and that's the big decision. As you well know, right now, you're going traditional publishing, or are you going to self-publish? Now, if you want to walk into a Barnes and Noble and see your books prominently displayed as you walk in, self-publishing is probably not going to get you there, at least not quickly. But if you want to maintain control over your product, maintain control over your creation, then self-publishing is a very effective way to go, and the process is a lot quicker than traditional publishing. You may have once you if you're lucky enough to get an agent, which is extremely difficult to do, and from there you're lucky enough for your agent to secure you a publishing contract, which again is extremely difficult to do. That's just kind of the beginning of that part of the process. It could be 2 to 3 years before you see your book in a bookstore, and every single department in the traditional publisher has to buy in, whether it be editors, whether it be sales, whether it be marketing, whoever it may distribution, whoever that may be, has to buy in and put it top priority. So um, I didn't. I'm not a control freak, but I didn't like the idea of losing that much control. And that's not to say I had publishers knocking down my front door and agents knocking down my front door because I didn't. I'm not going to paint that kind of picture. But with self publishing now so prevalent and at the forefront for folks like us who want to put a book out and see how they do. Um, I don't remember the last time I bought a book and picked it up to see who the publisher was. I
It's
didn't.
true.
I don't care who the publisher is, to be honest. So, now distribution is important if you want to get into the bookstores. It's certainly important. The traditional route will cover all the costs for you: the marketing costs, the print costs, the production costs. All that is covered up front for you, so that's not a worry. With self publishing, that comes out of your pocket. So, but there's so many programs now, and that can truly help guys like us publish a book for actually quite inexpensive. But there's a lot of sharks out there too. There's a lot of companies who tell you they're a turnkey solution, hand your book over to them, and they'll take care of all of it for you. And they are undoubtedly going to overcharge you, and they are undoubtedly going to take a lot of time. And from what I've seen so far, their product is not of the quality that I would like. And I'm not just throwing that out as a hey, they're out there. I got sucked in by it too, and I spent a lot of money with a company that I've been unhappy with, to be quite honest with you. Um, and you can do these on your own. Mark Dawson has an excellent self-publishing launchpad. It's $500 to take it, and it'll take you for everything from before you start writing to cashing a check at the very end, and keep that ongoing. It's absolutely fantastic to anyone wanting to self-publish. It's a one-stop shop for for anyone out there who wants to learn this process. It's a lot to learn, but it's not nearly as daunting as you would think. If you just Google self-publish my own book, you're going to get inundated with information from people who claim that they have the answer for you, and you're going to get inundated with softwares, and you're going to inundated with offers, and it's almost impossible to get your arms around all of it. You need someone like that self-publishing launchpad that can really, and there may be other products out there as well that are good. I'm not saying there's not, but this is just the one I use that I really do like a lot. Um, to really get your arms around what all these different softwares mean, what all these different terms mean, this sets it out in a very succinct manner, and it was very eye opening to me.
Thank you for your advice, Mr. Brad. And
Of
what
course.
will be your short term and long term goals in writing?
Well, I'm about 10 to 12 very rough chapters into the follow up novel to Recoil of Justice. Um, it's, having hired the developmental editor that I did, it's really taught me about the next book. Um, and I'm having a lot of fun writing it. It's again, it's a follow up to this one. It has some of the same characters, but I hope it takes the reader in a place that they don't see coming, but it keeps them turning pages. So I would like to follow it up, and I don't have any plans to stop doing it anytime soon. I'm really truly enjoying doing this. I still have a career. I'm still a lawyer. I still own a company, and that takes up my day to day. But I've never been as excited to sit down in front of my computer as I am right now, and I hope that doesn't end because it's it's like each one's a new project, each one is a new idea, each one you can massage, each one you can take in a certain direction, so long as you're not tied down by the first book you wrote. Because I've realized that I want to go a certain area, a certain place in my follow up novel, but I can't because I lock myself in to a certain fact pattern in the first one. But that's okay. That just exercises your creative muscles, and we'll see where the next one goes.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Brad, and
Thank
looking
you.
forward for more and more and more novels to come. So before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, Law 101 in each first season. People, first season with Mr. Andy Samachuk. Please do listen to our latest episode. We are talking about Mr. Donald Trump global visa. So please do listen Low 101, wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Brad, what is the primary takeaway you hope readers gain from reading Recoil of Justice?
I hope they take away that Ryan is a normal human being, an everyday person just like them, who's put into extraordinary circumstances and has to grow as a human being, and he has to pull on his the things he's learned in his past and grow past those and know that they're capable as well. And it doesn't just have to be taking on a corporate giant, taking on a large law firm, taking on a sinister, evil organization in order for you. It doesn't have to be that. It could be anything, any walk of life. That um, that if you believe in yourself, if you got to put in the work, and be willing to find out whether you're going to fail or not, whether you'll fail or succeed. Some people don't do things because they're too scared to find out. And I hope that they can put themselves in his shoes and really ask themselves the question, what would I do? And I hope they're entertained.
Yes, indeed, Mr. Brad Elder. Thank you so much.
Hmm.
And can you please invite our listeners to support your upcoming Justice, Recall
Yes,
of Justice?
they can visit bradeldernovels.com. That's bradeldernovels.com, or follow me on Facebook at Brad Elder Novels, or Instagram brad.elder.novels. They'll be able to find a link to when it's live to purchase online. They can sign up for my email updates and see a sneak peek of the prologue of Recall of Justice at bradeldernovels.com. And if you'll sign up for updates, you'll know the second that it's they can hit click and order the book.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Brad Elder because if you support him, as I said, more and more and more award winning and best selling novels to come. So, Mr. Brad, thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
time.
Thank you, Daniel. Enjoyed it.
Bodycon people, see you soon.